Allow me to introduce your amazing panelists for A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Up first, the amazing author of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Please welcome Holly Jackson. Welcome, Holly. Welcome, welcome. Take a seat wherever you please. Next up, our amazing director. Please welcome Dolly Wells. Welcome, Dolly. Sit wherever you please. Pick a couch. It's fine. We've got loads of space. Coming up next, playing Ravi Singh. Please welcome Mr. Zain Iqbal. Welcome, Zain. Up next, playing the part of Cara Ward. Please welcome Asha Banks. And last, but certainly not least, playing Pip Fitzamobi, please welcome Emma Myers! Your cast, crew, and creators of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, everybody! Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to MCM London. How are we all doing?
Good. Doing bloody-tastic.
That's what we want to hear.
It felt like we were coming out for a boxing match.
Yeah, that's what I feel like.
It does feel like a wrestling walk-on, doesn't it? Yeah.
Dolly said it was either like wrestling or a game show. So
yeah, maybe.
You're a game show. Welcome to Wheel of Fortune. So, guys, I think obviously we've done a little, wrestling walkout. But I think why don't we start all the way down there? Why don't you introduce yourself and the character you play to our wonderful audience?
Hello, everyone. I'm Zain, and I play Ravi.
Woo!
That's the internet's best book boyfriend right there.
Stop it! Stop it!
Yeah. Stop it, he's Pips. Leave him alone.
Dolly, over to you. Introduce yourself for people.
my name is Dolly Wells, and I'm the lead director of Good Girl's Guide to Murder.
Woo! And I'm Holly Jackson, and I wrote that book. I wrote that book. So. Yeah, thank you.
I'm Asha Banks, and I play Cara Ward. Yeah.
I'm Emma Myers, and I'm playing Pippa Fitzamobi.
Yeah.
This is so exciting to have you all here. Now, I'm one of very few people who's had the opportunity to see the first episode of this, and it is incredible. And we're going to talk to each of you about, the parts you play and all the direction and stuff. But first, obviously, Holly, I'd love to come to you and talk a bit about this book, because it was a #1 New York Times bestseller. It's now been made into this. It was your debut novel.
I know.
You're now seeing it on the big screen. How does that feel for you?
I think I've peaked too soon. I can only be downhill from here.
No, because your other books are #1 too.
I know, but none of them compare. And I'm like, wait, I'm getting better. But no, it's the hill I had to die on. But yeah, when it first published, I remember having a conversation with myself, looking in the mirror, you've got this. It's just got to sell 200 copies, and that's good. And it's getting your foot in the door, and then you'll write more books. You got this, girl. And then it sold a few more than 200 copies. I think there's probably more than 200 people in here. It's bananas. It's still kind of like a pinch me moment that I haven't really pinch me, Asha. Ow, not so hard. Yeah, it didn't work. It is kind of bananas. I did have a moment of oh, this is pretty cool when I walked into the table read for the first time and I saw all these human beings that were the characters out of my head, and I was like, oh, okay. I think you've done a good job. It was weird. It was weird for you as well, wasn't it?
Yes, but I didn't write the book, so I've just been working out who would be the best actor for each part.
Literally, the first thing that Holly said to me was, oh my God, you came out of my brain.
I did, in a very visceral way. Yeah. Also, me and Asha are like the same person. It's very strange. We say the same things at the same time. That time. Oh, see, we did it again. We finish each other.
Sandwiches.
Yeah, there we go.
The book is such an exciting story, and I'd like to know, from your opinion, did you always have a feeling that it could lend itself to a big screen version?
As a writer, I kind of refer to myself as like a screenwriter trapped in the body of a novelist, just to make it sound dramatic and visceral. I very much structure my books like they are films or TV shows, and I don't start writing like the first sentence of chapter 1 until I can run the entire thing like a movie in my head. So I think that's why they read quite cinematic and why it was an easy-ish process adapting it for screen. Obviously, there are always hurdles, and a lot of the book is Pip just sitting at her laptop tapping away. That would have been really boring if it was just Emma the whole time. As good as Emma is, that might have not been the most fun show. So we've had fun being creative and making it something that is an awesome TV show, as you saw with that sneaky trailer.
I know, it's very exciting. And it's coming out in July, which means people don't have that long to wait to be able to finally see
So
this.
soon, guys. That's like a month away. I've been waiting for my entire life. You think you're impatient? This has been in the works for like 5 years now. Finally here.
It's 5 years ago when the initial sort of conversations begun.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It's been a long time coming.
And at what point in that process did you cast the amazing actors that we have here with us?
It was quite close to shooting, wasn't it?
It was about 2 months before or 3. And
Wow.
So,
When we started.
yeah.
we-
I mean, like, yeah, so you just had, yeah, probably in about February or March.
I found
Okay.
out a year ago today.
Did you?
Was it a happy
you?
anniversary?
Apparently, I'm told now that I give it away when they would come in
You
for
do.
auditions.
You
apparently,
absolutely do.
'cause I'm primarily an actor, and it's just so awful going through the process of auditions. And I've never really, quite rarely been on the other end. And they would come in, and I think I was doing a real poker face of being like,
No, you were like winking. You were like, we'll get back to you about
"What?"
this
I was,
part,
I
yeah?
was really bad with you, wasn't I, Asha?
Yeah, I just remember like Dolly, after me doing my scenes, was kind of sat in front of me and then was just like, yeah, really, really
Nudging- I think I was nudging Florence, our
So
producer.
very unsubtle.
And also, I had my dog, which is not cool, but in all the auditions. So he was sort of judging
Didn't
as
he
well.
try and bite someone? For you? Oh,
So he
that's
barked.
how you knew. Little, all right.
Now, something else I should ask Holly, but do you feel that, despite the book was written a little bit ago, do you actually feel that for now, in the day we're in now, that actually it's still a very relevant story and kind of timeless in a way?
I think so. I mean, references in the book that were Facebook have been updated to Instagram. We even mentioned TikTok. We keep our pulse on culture, guys. I think so. I mean, kids in school still do have to do an EPQ project sometimes. Raise your hand if you have to do an EPQ. See? It's a thing.
All
Many
4 of
people.
them.
Don't try and solve a murder for your EPQ. Bad things happen. You get a cute boyfriend out of it, maybe, so...
Now, there's been a lot of sort of teases going out on social media and things, probably for the last year, obviously, when you guys were all announced as the actors and things. How have you found the fan response that you guys have seen online at all? Emma, why don't we start with you?
Well, I've never done an adaptation before from a book. So it was really interesting to see all the already pre-existing fans from the book respond very well to the casting. I was a bit nervous because I'm the only American.
But you do an amazing British accent in
Doesn't
it.
she?
Well, we'll see when the show comes out how it reads.
It's better
but,
than mine. And if anyone says anything mean about it, you know I know how to get rid of a body. So, just saying, remember that.
I'm looking forward to the Daily Mail headline tomorrow. Author threatens entire audience.
Threaten murder. Yeah, I do it all the time.
Asha, what about yourself? Have you seen much of an outpouring of love for your casting and for the entire show?
It's just been the best thing ever. I remember like a few of us got like kind of leaked before we were announced, and it was just like crazy, like watching people discover like straight away from a tiny image of our face, and then like half a second later is like I found every single one of them with their Instagrams and everything.
Because
And
you all followed each other on Instagram. You gave it away.
No one told us
you
not to.
Silly sausages.
But it was just like amazing. The fan response has been so incredible, and we're so lucky to have people that love the amazing books so much, and hopefully like everybody loves the show as much as they love your books.
And Zain, we're going to ask you the same question. Were you pretty pleased seeing people really, effervescent about the fact that you were cast?
It was wild,
Yeah?
like crazy.
Did you have people messaging you with links going, mate, look at this?
Oh, definitely.
That's so
I
exciting, mate.
bet. I've seen people making fan edits of Zayn.
Yeah, my
with
TikTok
the
is just
music.
Zayn
And
Iqbal
you as well. In
TikToks.
fact, someone made a fan edit of me to sexy music the other day as well, and I was like, oh, look at this. The star treatment. So yeah.
Now, Holly,
Feeling left out. There
I've
hasn't
obviously,
been any of
for
that.
this, I've had to make sure I do some research on all of you and your respective careers and things. And I obviously found Holly's bio, and it's mentioned a couple of things. One of them were that you love binging video games.
Yes, I do.
So that you're in the right place for that at
I
MCM
am.
Comic Con.
Although I see all the costumes and I'm like, I don't know what that game is. I like gore and blood, so I'm a The Last of Us kind of galley type. Woohoo!
Good.
Yeah.
A popular choice, clearly.
We all like
But also,
zombies. Yeah.
the other thing that you had is, in quotes, pointing out grammatical errors in street signs.
Yeah. I think I was just trying to sound cool when I was a young baby author, and I was like, how do I sound like not a nerd? And I don't think I nailed that one, actually. But like, I do that. Like the Waterstones, they lost the apostrophe at the end, and it always annoys me because it's a like, don't get me started.
It's like when you see roadworks ahead. You think, I hope so.
I know, yeah.
So there was a slight groan from the audience when I made that joke. I'm very, very sorry. So, Dolly, let's talk to you about this. Obviously, you're directing and you're co-directing this. There's two of you directing this. Is that correct?
Yes, I directed the first three, and then Tom Vaughan directed the last three.
And do you two have much of a sort of collaborative process with setting up threads for later that maybe the other one will be doing?
That was, no. I mean, you do in that you're watching, so because I did the first three, and then you hand it on like a baton, and he was so wonderful, and it was really nice knowing that he was then going to be taking over, because you do get very protective and territorial. They're your gang.
They're your baby.
I know.
I know, the day that I first turned up to set and it wasn't Dolly, obviously I love Tom, but we were all a bit like, where's Dolly?
But I had to be in the edit. But so Tom would then see rushes and everything, and there'd be conversations, and also maybe little tiny changes with script things if something was working very well in the first three, or but yeah, so we didn't, I suppose just the story spoke for itself and the script, so you were just doing your own three, and I'd set up the casting and the locations and the wardrobe. You have the quite fun job as the lead director of setting up all the HODs, all the heads of departments, so the wardrobe and the art department and the locations and the casting. So you sort of, and then you send the ship off on its way and sit in the edit being like, yes, oh God, you know.
And it must be very exciting seeing it all come together. But you've got quite a rich career doing acting and also directing other things. But this is your first TV directorial,
This is the first
right?
television I've directed, yes.
That's exciting. And so how did you actually get involved with the project initially?
Well, I just put my hat in the ring and had a meeting and was like, I really want to do this. I really think that, and I met, it's such a silly thing, but I met a wonderful woman who did a brilliant mood board for me. And the more we were doing the mood board, the more excited I was getting about, oh my God, I can see how this should look. And it just felt like a story that I really wanted to tell.
And had you read the book prior to that meeting?
Yes.
And that's why you were like,
Yes.
my hat,
Yes.
my ring, please let me do this.
Yes.
And so how did you go about sort of taking the book that you knew and working with adapting that to screen? Because I think you mentioned earlier, there are challenges of doing that and you have to update things. How did you go about that?
That wasn't, in this case, my job. I do write, but that was, the script had already been written by the time I was on board. So that was all dealt with all of these, with Holly and Poppy and Florence. And but mine was just bringing to life the, you know, seeing who is the perfect person, who do I see as all these various characters, and where do I see them living, and what's their house look like, and what does their, you know, so all of that was really enjoyable.
Excellent. Now we're going to remain on the same couch as Dolly, Zain. So talk to us a bit about your character and what your experience has been like throughout the filming of things, because obviously it goes on quite a journey throughout the story, Ravi, and his character comes from sort of a place of trauma in a way. I think a lot of them do in certain senses. But talk to us a bit about what you feel of the character and what you felt you should bring to it.
I mean, like, I went into audition with, like, knowing what I wanted to bring, and I think they liked it. For me, it was like bring.
Yeah, you did good.
You did okay.
But I did all right, just about. For me, it was like bringing a certain level of like vulnerability to the character, but like not showing too much. And then me and Dolly like talked about like how he should be like a modern man and be able to like talk about his feelings and like open up to Pip. And so you see the arc. So like he starts off quite closed, and then you'll see it in like episode 3, 4, where he like really.
Oh, careful.
No spoilers.
Where he really starts to open up. basically,
He brings
and
the
gets out of his
perfect
shell.
golden retriever type energy that you're all looking for. I
Well,
know.
also,
He's
you
got
wanted him to be at the beak, I mean, which isn't, I don't think, giving anything away, that he is a happy, sweet, vulnerable.
And he's got Riz. Cheeky bit of Riz. I thought you were going to bring that up, Zain. You're always saying to me, Ravi got Riz. Short for charisma, I learned.
Very good. I'm glad you're up to date. And so does that Riz come naturally from you through the character, Zain?
There is.
Yeah, the
It
Riz.
came from me.
That's not for me to say. That's
Is this
all
not
you
a man
guys
with
to say.
Riz, everyone? You're meant to cheer when I do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you, mate.
Yeah, I'm actually quite an awkward person, but like, I think.
Shut up.
Well, I mean, we're very glad to have you here, and it's really nice to be able to
Thank
talk
you.
to you. And like you said, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to spoil things. You have to see the first episode in July. But even throughout the first episode, you sort of see a bit of change throughout him because Pip obviously makes her way into his life.
Definitely, because like, Pip's the first person that comes and like talks to him, and like he's closed off in his room. He's a nerdy guy, like closed book, and for someone to like come talk to Ravi about his life, what he's going through, and like that means a lot to him.
Of course. And also, this is your first major role, am I right?
I know, crazy.
He's a
So what was
brand
that
new
phone
newbie.
call like? Was that absolutely mind-blowing?
Quite emotional. Like, I've only been acting for like 4 years.
Wow.
And I moved to London like 2 years ago just to make it happen. And there was like a lot of struggle. And then this came about and like got the call, was crying. I was literally crying. Called my mum, called my friend there. Ula.
Hello, friend.
Yeah, we were just all crying. But it all goes to Dolly. Like, she really fought for me and I owe it all to her.
Well, that's
You
amazing.
will never be allowed to forget that.
I won't. I'm in debt
Make
for
him
you.
carry heavy
Forever.
boxes. Yeah, repaint my
Go
house.
get her a latte.
I'll cook for you.
Very nice.
Because part of the key of this is obviously Ravi and Pip are sort of, well, sorry. You know, these are the characters who are the centerpiece of this. And so picking them, you have to be very careful with who you're picking. And actually, the people you've picked for this
Yeah.
are just amazing. So was that a real,
Well,
when you saw the chemistry?
They had to have a chemistry read.
Oh, that was so fun.
And
That was so much fun. On Zoom, it was hard because
No, I'm talking, that one was tricky, but the real life one was so cute. I watched it. And
but the first one was quite hard because it was on Zoom.
Yes.
Where were you, Emma? I can't
Zoom,
remember.
Zoom, everything nowadays since COVID is on Zoom. So your chemistry reads with people are over Zoom, and it's hard to get a read if you like each other through a screen. But I think it ended up going pretty well, and then when I came to London, we had an in-person chemistry read, and I think that's when everybody was like, okay, yeah, this is
we like broke the ice pretty quickly because like there's a scene where Pip basically drags Ravi, and she literally just pulled my hand and we were like running around the room,
yeah,
and they were
was
getting it
per-
on
It was
tape.
giving perfect. Yeah, I'm like, careful,
was
Jane,
general,
no
careful.
spoilers.
All looking
It was
like-
giving perfect Pip Ravi energy because Emma is tiny. I think Zayn is like a whole foot taller than Emma. But Emma just was like completely bossing him around and he was following her around like a puppy, like, oh, we shouldn't be doing this. And I was like, they're perfect. That's literally Pip Ravi.
Pip wears the pants.
She does wear the pants.
She does.
Now, we're going to come and talk to you in a moment, Emma, but I still want to talk to Asha about your character, because obviously you played Kara. Now, tell me about obviously your experience with getting cast in that, as well as what you feel you've tried to work into the character from who you are as an actor as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just Kara's biggest fan. I think she's the coolest person ever. She's so funny and witty and smart and sarcastic, and I just love her friendship with Pip. I think they're just the most, like, true friendship. I feel like I have so many friendships like Pip and Kara's, and it was so lovely, like, finding out when Emma, like, who Pip was. I was just so excited to meet her, and, like, luckily
I
we
mean, it's a shame you hate
Get
each
along
other so
okay.
much in real life. Just kidding. They are best buds.
Stir the pot of drama.
Stir the pot. We hate each other. I'm joking. But literally, we just had the best time filming ever, and it was so lovely to kind of feel that real friendship and just be able to just play and have fun with each other whilst we were doing it.
Because even backstage, I could see that like the two of you seem like
Yeah.
genuine friends in real life, which is very sweet, being able to bring it to life on the screen as well. But having seen that first episode, the chemistry that you two do have feels so authentic. I feel like I'm watching two people who are sort of mates. There's a lot of, you know, taking the mick out of each other and like a little bit of sarcasm from you with certain things. And I just remember thinking, I just believe everything about this on screen. It feels real. It feels like the story's being brought to life. And so was that a long process that you guys had to work through, or did it actually just click quite naturally?
It just clicked completely. We met kind of the two of us and Jude and Raiko, and Yali was supposed to be there, but she couldn't. We all kind of met this one day and had like a kind of, we'd been cast, but it was like, kind of put us together to be like, let's see if they get on. And we just all hit it off completely and just had the best time. And yeah.
And
Emma
also, Asha is a tiny bit like Cara in that she was so welcoming. It was so sweet. I can remember that on the first day, Emma had had a really long flight and was having costume fittings, and it was quite a lot. There were so many people. And I remember just thinking, Asha's like Cara, like sort of really up for being friends with everybody, excited. They all were. They became such a gang so immediately. It was really exciting watching it. 'Cause it's like,
so hard to get a word in edgewise when we're all in the same room. It's like,
that is very true. I feel like we kind of all morphed into our characters throughout filming. I think we are all quite similar anyway, as it is. But throughout filming, like in the friendship group especially, I feel like we kind of adopted our positions in the same way as in the show, and it kind of like just the line was so blurry.
I mean, like I said, watching it all, you do sort of exactly like you guys said, it really does feel like a real group of friends and things. And I'm so excited to get to see the rest of the show as well. Having seen one, it feels like just such a tease. I need to see the rest of it.
You're gripped.
But also, speaking of tease, your father in the show is played by the amazing Matthew Bainton.
Yeah.
Who I was expecting that reply from. We've had Matthew on this very stage only a few months ago for Ghosts.
Wow.
So I know people here at MCM are no stranger to him. What was it like working with Matthew? Did you really enjoy it? Did you two have great chemistry?
He's amazing. He's literally the funniest person ever. I remember I went up to him at the read-through and I was like, hello, father, I'm your daughter. And he was kind of like,
both you and Yasmin went up to him. We were like, we're your daughters.
And he was like, hello,
like,
nice to meet you.
It was quite nice for me to see, because the only thing I'd seen him in prior to that was Ghosts, where he plays quite a flamboyant poet. And to see him in a very grounded,
I feel
fatherly
like
position.
He hides it though. For the first few scenes, I was like, oh gosh, he's quite like introverted and very like, I mean, wonderful and amazing. And it just kind of, the more he was hanging out with us crazy young people, he kind of like
pecked away.
Yeah, we pecked away. And by the end, he was literally like another member of the gang. He is crazy in the best way. I have some hilarious videos of that man.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so exciting that you got such a brilliant cast, and having him in there just sort of as an extra cherry on top really sort of brings it all together. Now, last but certainly not least, I'm going to come to this end of the couch. Oh, you got given 2 microphones. That's how you know things are serious. Now, Emma, obviously, we know you from Wednesday and things. So can you talk to us what it was like when you got cast in this? Because that's a very different show to something like this. You're the leading character in a sort of teenage crime thriller. So what was that like for you?
Well, I remember getting an email asking me to meet with Dolly just to see how things worked out. So I had a meeting, and they were like, oh, yeah, by the way, you have to do a British accent. And I was like, there's no way this is going to happen. So I did the meeting and without a British accent, and then they were like, well, if you just send us a video of your British accent, then we'll talk. So I sent a really shoddy video. It
wasn't shoddy.
It was good.
It was so bad.
Emma, it was really good.
It was,
nailed it.
It's improved. It's good now. But it was interesting to kind of be seen past my character in Wednesday, because she is so, Enid is so la 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 la, very smiley and very very out there, and Pip is the complete opposite. Pip is reserved, and she's very smart and forward thinking and very she's got a big brain to her, and so it was kind of touching to be thought of in a way that was so different from Enid. And I just love Pip so much. I love that. It was
also because so we first met Emma and we're like, oh my gosh, this would just be perfect. We could just see Pip. And then as she said,
is Pip.
when she sent the tape, but the time between that and getting the tape was like, I just know she can do an English accent. We all just know she can. Of course she can. She'll be able to.
Yeah, there was a lot of like willpower. I was like, she's nailed it. Give her the part.
But
I don't even need to
just
hear
going to wait. And then we watched it, and what was so beautiful was, you could tell it was already a very good accent that's now become perfect, but she also could inhabit, instead of the accent being something that was getting in the way, she still totally was Pip. She'd been Pip when she was, and so it was just really exciting that she could, she was so Pip that it felt like whatever accent she would do, she'd be able to be Pip.
Would it be too much of a request to hear the British accent?
Oh my word, you heard it in the teaser.
Yeah, you've already...
Is that enough?
We've been gatekeeping that accent. You think I'm going to let her do it now in front of a crowd?
The funny thing is, though, is that I feel like I can do it when I'm around, like, it comes back instantly.
Sure.
Then,
Like a
and then
chameleon.
I start to cross a weird line between American and English. It's very strange. And I remember I had a meeting with a producer right after I finished rapping Good Girls, and he was like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I just
Infected
did it." Yeah,
you.
I honestly don't know what to answer because I just did a TV show over in the UK, and he was like, "That's it. That's where it is."
I remember, literally seeing you yesterday. I was like, you're so American.
Yeah.
You're so
It's
American.
so weird. When I'm not with them, it goes away completely, but the second I'm here, I'm like, oh, it's just easier.
Well, watching it, I forgot that you were American because it is such a
Yay.
convincing
That's
accent.
a huge compliment.
I mean, I mean it sincerely. It was really, because I genuinely went, hang on.
Right.
She's not like this in Wednesday, is she?
Yeah.
So it's really, really amazing. And this is a slightly strange question to ask within the world of accents, but do you have a phrase that you have to sort of utter to get you into the British headspace? Do you have to go like tea and crumpets,
think
tea
of
and
one.
crumpets?
Oh, she's only little.
That one, exactly. She's only little.
She's only little.
She's only little.
This is so over the top and dramatic, but it was just this phrase that I don't even know who started
I
it.
know exactly what it was from. We were filming some of the camping scenes, and it was freezing outside
the
because it was
night
night
shoot,
shoots.
yeah.
So Yali and I and Emma were like kind of getting changed in this tent somewhere in the forest. And we turn around and Emma's just got like thermals on. So she had like these white thermals that were kind of like pantaloons and like a white kind of long sleeve top and her little brown bob. And we were just like, you look like berries and cream right now.
Berries and cream,
She's
that's
little
the one.
lad. She's
Yeah.
little lad. And that somehow like developed into.
She's only
Oh,
little.
well, she's only little.
Oh, she didn't murder. She's only little.
Did you manage to work that into a line at all? Because I know everyone in the cast, everyone here is now going to watch you on that and go, she's only little.
She's only, especially when she's Zain as well. She's only little.
Little.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up working with the directors and obviously through your own experience with the book and things? How did you end up working together to craft your version of Pip?
Well, I would hope that my version of Pip is very close to
Nailed it.
book version of Pip.
110%.
But, I think we had about 2 weeks of prep because I joined pretty late. And so it was kind of rushed into shooting. But honestly, getting to read the book and then sitting and reading it with the script as well was really helpful to be able to blend Pip's character over into the scripts. But I think really what did it was having such a great cast and a great director just to guide you on what the vibe is and how it's supposed to be feeling. And so I think it came pretty naturally, I would say, which is good because then you're able to be natural in a character without having to worry.
Did you have to sort of peel through the whole book in that process and try and just work through some of those scenes in your own head?
Yeah, I would read a scene in the script and then I would go to the book and read the same scene in the book and try and, grapple with the differences and the similarities and how they read differently and how they would feel differently seeing them on screen. But honestly, I think it just came naturally because I had source material to work with. And Pip and I feel like are more alike than not. And so it was kind of a natural process, which was great.
Me and Asha were just saying she's so like Pip. She does her homework.
Yeah, her literally like,
She's
comparing the two
She's
together
the most
and like making a
hard-working
spreadsheet at the
person
same
I've
time.
ever seen. On
She
planet
literally
Earth.
is.
She'd work so hard that she'd have to like pass out between scenes, and we'd be like, Emma needs a little power now.
Yali and I always say she just
But
sits
not
there
only
being
that,
sweet.
but everybody is, but because we're talking about Emma, has a really wonderful it's really fun directing her because she has equally a clear understanding of what's needed technically, but also artistically and what she's supposed to do and how to bring life to Pip constantly, however many hours, however long, however many people in the scene, whatever she's got to do to sort of be giving the little sort of, tiny thing that we need to see clue-wise without making it obvious, without making it, so it was a real
She's got magical eyeballs, this girl. Like, when you see her eyes, I mean, even now, they're lovely. They're nicer on screen. She's got...
I get told I look like the people with blue eyes meme all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, but you look like haunted most of the time. There's so much going on. There's universes inside Emma's eyeballs. But also, I'd say that the other thing that you match Pip on is your sense of style sometimes. Like, you kind of dress similar to Pip. And didn't we even use some of your actual clothes?
They used some of my clothes because I walked into the table read and the producers were like, just dress her like Emma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah.
The trousers we used. Do you remember the shoes?
The cargo pants.
I think my
Were they your sister's pants?
they were mine. They were mine. Well, yeah,
Okay.
she wears them more than I do, but they were mine.
They were really good
I
on
think
the
my
show.
shorts were taken inspiration from my shoes. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I am so excited, not only to see the rest of the show, but for everyone else to get to start this in July. It's going to be fantastic. Holly, I'm going to ask you one more question.
Hit me.
But before I do, we have a little bit of time at the end of this for anyone to come and ask a question. We'll try and get through a handful. So you'll see in these aisles, there are microphones. Please move slowly and calmly if you have questions to ask up to these. I will also say we cannot answer any Wednesday questions. So if they're about that, I'm afraid we won't be able to answer them. Let's keep it to the book, guys. That's what we're here.
Keep it on theme.
Yeah, guys, keep it on topic. So make your way there. And while you guys are quickly doing that, we'll try and get through a couple of you. I just want to ask one more thing. You've said in an interview before that you...
Uh-oh. What?
This is where you get in trouble.
Yeah.
So you said that you don't think having a teenage lead detective was in any way a weakness. You saw it as a massive strength. So
Yeah.
can you tell us a bit about that for our sort of conclusion to this panel?
I mean, I think I'm just going to make a sweeping generalization here, and you're going to accept it as the gospel truth. I think that writing young adult thrillers is harder than writing adult thrillers because the kind of readership, like young adults, and they're not necessarily just teenagers. Like, I have readers who are women, like, up to their 50s. I think the way that young adult readers read a book, they're so engaged and they are looking for every single clue. They will tab it, they will make notes, which makes my job really, really difficult. So I've had to like up my game to kind of keep up with these guys. And the way that I see it is teenage girls are the superheroes, the unsung superheroes of planet Earth, and I love them. And everyone is always really mean to teenage girls. But they can literally, like, watch out. They can solve murders. They can do murders. So stop being mean to them. And I think what's really fun about both the book and our show is that it feels accessible in a way. Like, you've all got an Instagram account. Like, if Pip finds a clue on Instagram, you could do that as well. So I feel like it has that very, like, you feel like, maybe I could solve a murder. I mean, don't try it, but I think that's why the book has kind of struck a chord with people, because it feels like, you're like, hey, I've got a Fitbit, I've got a phone, I could do this, so...
That's
Again,
a really interesting answer.
don't.
It's accessible.
Accessible,
A lot of
yeah.
people could do this.
Yeah.
You could all be Pip and Ravi.
All of us are a little bit Pip and Ravi inside, I think.
That's a great way
There
of
we go.
remembering this panel. All of us are a bit Pip and Ravi. Guys, give it up for your amazing panelists as part of this fantastic show. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder coming in July. We're going to come and quickly try and answer a few of them. We've got exactly 9 minutes left of this panel. So we're going to try and rattle through some of these if we can. Emma, pick left or right.
Left.
We're coming over to you. Hello,
Oh,
what is your
shit.
name? What is your question? I love the way the light comes up, like it's a musical theatre show.
Hello, you.
Hello. I'm Ellen, I'm 14 and I'm from Basingstoke.
Woohoo.
My question is directed more towards Holly.
Yes.
How involved were you in the creating of this series? Like, were there anything you were like, no, that's not my book? Like, how accurate can we expect the series to
Excellent
be?
question. We've learned throughout this process that I am a bit of a control freak and I have trouble letting my baby go. I mean, I've been on since the bitter beginning with our exec producers and our producers, and kind of like we were working on the scripts together, and once we were greenlit, we had to find a director, and I was very insistent I wanted a woman director. So then when we found Dolly, I was like, yes, nab her, we've got to get her. I've been sticking my nose in wherever I bloody well can, as these guys can attest to. I would go to set maybe 1 or 2 times every week to play with these guys, mostly mess around and get told off. Yeah. No, I was very helpful, actually. Not, Yeah, I have a cameo, actually. Secret, sneaky little cameo. Yeah, she's not just a writer. She can act, too. I'm in disguise, though, because apparently I was too obvious. And actually, I had a second cameo, Dolly, in episode 3. You cut me.
Oh, now
Remember
we're seeing
that
the
boxing
real
match
drama.
we talked about earlier?
You're in the, well, I mustn't say.
When you say disguise, we're not talking like Groucho Marx glasses.
We-
This isn't Holly Jackson.
We had to hide my hair because my hair's a bit obvious. So look out for me in Ep 4. And I might be in the background of episode 3. But Dolly cut my main scene. We'll be having
I'm
work
really
after.
sorry. I think
Kidding.
I felt threatened.
I was too distracting.
Well, you're going to start being in those Twitter threads of when the author was actually in their own show.
I know.
You're going to be in one of them as a clip.
Tarantinoing all over.
Exactly.
The
You're going to be
show. I know.
immortalized on X or whatever people call it now. Anyway, thank you so much for your question.
Thanks, Ellen.
We're going to come over to the right now. Hello, what is your name and what is your question?
Hi, I'm Ella, and first I want to say I absolutely love A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It's one of my favorite series ever. So my question is more towards Emma. So if you were to play any other character on the show, which character would you want to play and why?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Honestly, this could be a spoiler though.
What? Yeah, okay. I approve.
You approve?
I approve.
I can. Okay.
They've all read the book.
I would want to play Sal, because some of the stuff he gets to do on the show is really cool. I've seen snippets of his stuff, and it's top tier. So I think, yeah, he's got some good snippets in there that are fantastic, and I think they're really powerful scenes. So I'd say Sal.
Actually, I'm curious to know beyond that. Asha, Zain, what would you guys, if you could play another character, who would you guys play? Carl, we'll start with you. We haven't heard from you in a while, all the way down there on that sofa.
We haven't forgotten about you.
I can't say because it'd be a spoiler.
Okay.
That's such a cheat answer.
Okay, I've got options.
Okay.
Go for a
option B.
non-spoilery one.
I go with Max.
Okay.
Oh! He said Max. What a switch that is. Let everyone in the audience
Becca
is cross
Bell.
now.
Okay.
Becca Bell.
You'd play Becca Bell.
And then I'd go Naomi Ward.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are good answers. Now, do you want to explain why, or are we going too close to spoiler territory?
I'm not sure you can.
Okay, we're not going to do that then, but now we've heard a good answer there from, say, Asha.
You should say Barney.
I think I'd probably play Barney. No, joking. Holly told me to do it. I think I'd probably want to play Naomi. I mean, I think Yasmin does such an amazing job, but I think her character has such a arc in the books and the show, and she's just such a beautiful character, I think. So probably Naomi.
And she's your sister.
And she's my sister, so I kind of have to.
It's a great answer, though. And thank you very much for your question. We still have 4 minutes, so we've got time for maybe a couple more. Hello, what is your name? What is your question?
Hi, my name's Leah. It's directed to anyone, but I was just wondering, what's your favorite part of, being on set with everyone?
Zain?
Definitely bringing it to life and seeing having read the book and just seeing everything the set design, the costumes, just acting and playing the characters, playing the scenes that are so infamous and everyone knows so well. Yeah.
Do you thrive in front of the camera, Zain?
Sorry, say that again?
Do you thrive in front of the camera? Do you like having the lights on? Do you feel happy, or do you feel sometimes a bit oh God?
I try to lose myself in it. It's very hard to do, but I prefer to just not think about it.
Nice.
And focus on the scene and the work.
Channel the character, not the actor in the... in
I
front of the
try,
camera.
yeah.
And
Smart
you guys
guy.
work so well together as well. I mean, from an outside perspective, watching your guys' scenes, I think they're so beautiful. The way that you're you work amazingly together. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you.
That's okay.
And Asha, what about yourself? What's your favorite? What was the question? What was your favorite thing on set?
About on set.
with, yeah.
I think the people, to be honest, genuinely, it was just the best group of people. The cast and the crew and the departments were all so amazing. We all just got on so well and had the best summer ever. And it was just so much fun.
And Emma?
Yeah, I would say the same. The people, the friendships I've made on this show have been incredible. Some of the most fun scenes I've ever filmed have been on this show. The general vibe, I feel, you would feel great in front of the camera on set all the time. You just love bringing everything to life. So yeah, I'd say the people and the content.
And that content will be coming soon. Thank you very much for your question.
you.
Over to that answer. Hello, what is your name? What is your question?
Hi,
to Murder exists in the Heartstopper universe, because you see Isaac reading it at lunch. My question is, does Heartstopper exist in the Good Girls Guide to Murder universe?
I mean, not officially, we don't see any books, but we have quite a lot of crossover because some of our cast are very good buddies with some of the... I'm looking at Asha because it's Asha. I'm outing Asha here. It's good buddies with some of the actors on Heartstopper, so not officially, but maybe a few years down the line. Can you imagine crossover event, Heartstopper and Good Girl? I don't know if they quite vibe. I'm not sure their age rating, but we might have to have a bit less blood in our show, but... So not officially, but that would be fun. And I know Alice as well. Me and Alice are friends, so that would be fun. But no, unfortunately. I did a big, long answer, but essentially, no, sorry.
In one word, no. Thank you very much for your question. We're going to quickly come over here. We have a minute and a half, so we might be able to get through 2 more. Hello, what is your name? What's your question?
Hi, my name is Aman, and I'm from India. So my question is for Ms. Holly. Do you think you faced any challenges to making the series really book accurate? And could you see covering the book, second book and third book as well?
There were challenges, obviously, in changing the book into a script. I think it lent itself really well. It feels very faithful. I think you're all gonna like it. I really hope you do. I would love to make the whole series of the show if we can, which means I have to rely on you guys to binge watch the show when it comes out. I want you to watch it on the first day and the second day. No, don't sleep that week. We've got Good Girls Guide to Murder on that Monday, general election on the Thursday. It's a busy week for the UK, but you've got to just watch it over and over because we are all desperate to come back and play. As
Your show's going to be the soundtrack to the general election.
Yeah, I know. I already came up with an abbreviation for it. You know, we call the general election the Jenny Lek, and A Good Girls Guide to Murder is Girly Merds. So, girly Merds on the Monday.
We need another shortening.
Yep, it's too hard to say, so we're going to go for Girly Merds, Jenny Lek.
Girly Mers.
Yeah.
Well, I hope all of you are going to pay attention to Girly Mers during the Jenny Lex. Is that what you called it?
Girly Merds.
I've not heard Jenny Lek before, but I like this. Girly Mers. I'm going to end this panel by saying, give it up for your cast and crew of Girly Mers.
Knife hand writes to all of you with love. There, that was yes.
That was perfect. Round of applause
there.
there.
That was it. There's no more.
Very good, Neil. Thank you. And guys, thank you so much. This has been, I would sit here and talk to you for 2 hours, exhausting each and every one of you, but unfortunately we only have so much time, and obviously I want to try and make sure some of these amazing members of the community get to ask their questions. We have almost exactly 13 minutes left, and there are quite a lot of you, and because there's a lot of people on here, I'm going to see if we can try and keep it relatively quick so we can rattle through as many as possible. Beth, pick left or right?
I'm going to go left because I saw you get there really fast.
You did. You were up, I think, before I'd finished the sentence.
Hi, I'm Zoe from Portugal. First off, I want to say congratulations to all of you. And my question was, after doing for 4 years voice work and motion cap, how was it, your first experience, seeing the project completed? And like in Neil's and George's case, experiencing the game for yourselves.
In all honesty, on release day, we were actually on a different project altogether. So basically, we came out, we were midway through session, it was like, cool, we're on line 276. Oh, and that's been released. Way. I'm moving on to line 277. And it was like, that was the initial moment we had. And then after the fact, we got to experience everything.
It was surprising to see a lot of the visuals that we never saw, because as you know, the writing in the game is amazing. They're so talented, the writers. So we would get these really good bios for the characters and descriptions of scenes, but there's loads of stuff we'd visually never seen, loads of character design we'd never seen. So it was really exciting to be like, oh, wow, okay, we're in that kind of area. Wish I'd known. Anyway, thank you.
Would anyone else like to jump in on this?
I mean, I would just say, what's been extraordinary to me is you can play through this game from beginning to end. It'll take you, I don't know, 100, 150, 200 hours. You can go back to the start, play it again, and have an entirely different experience. I mean, that to me is extraordinary. So, you know, there's a lot of gameplay still out there, right?
Well, thank you very much for your question. Really appreciate it. We're going to now hop over to the right. Oh, a spotlight comes down on you like you're in musical theatre. Hello, what's your name? What is your question?
Hi, Wow. Okay, hi, my name's Tim, and I just wanted to first off say thank you for an incredible masterpiece. I've fallen head over heels in love with it, and it's really brought me back into video games and actually an aspiring voice actor now. My question comes off the back of that. When you're in the studio, do you prefer sometimes working with just voice, or do you like doing motion capture with that as well? And how do the two mediums inform each other? Are there ways that work differently across them? Do you prefer one or the other, or just do the whole shebang? Thank you.
I think it depends on the project. Sometimes where you've got like very sort of like photorealistic or at least very grounded realistic characters, then the combination of motion capture and voice performance is delightful because you get all the subtle nuances. If you're doing animation, then sometimes you don't need the motion capture, and then you can just lean onto voice, as it were, and then get a little more heightened in characteristic. But Kirsty, you do loads on this, so.
Lovely. In terms of, it's decided in advance whether lines are going to be either voice or mocapped. So for Baldur's Gate 3, we knew that all the dialogue was going to be mocapped and voiced in advance. There were changes that were made, at various points, decisions about things like the animals were just voiced. So we don't really get a choice in that way. That is decided from the start. I think doing there is an incredibly large amount of creative freedom with voice, as Josh says. I think one of the things that we personally didn't get to do so much of was big cinematic scenes, which is for performance capture, where you have both voice and mocap at the same time. And that is a bit more like theatre or film, where you're blocking the scenes, and that takes a lot. Yeah, and that keeps and that's a. I don't personally have a choice. I don't have like a preference over one or the other. They can be very different mediums. They can combine in really important and really exciting ways. What was really great for us to be able to work with actors doing both is that we could match the physicality to the voice of the character and create an entire character from the bottom up. Whereas if you do them separately, you are retrofitting one to the other. And you get a lot of games. I'm not going to mention any games in particular because I would like to keep my job in this industry. But there are lots of games where you can kind of tell that the voice and the mocap were done separately. So somebody has mocap to the voice, or they voice to the mocap, because it doesn't look like a seamless creation. It doesn't look like something that's created. Whereas in the studio for every character, we were going, this is how it sounds. And the actor is also creating how it moves as well. Yeah.
That was an incredibly detailed answer for that, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your question. I like the idea that when this one fades up, someone's going to go, close every door. Sorry. Anyway, hello, what is your name? What is your question?
My name's Ellen. My question is a bit stupid, but if you had like the chance to kind of play another character, just for funsies, like whose vibe you kind of like, who
Darling.
Another Neil has entered the ring.
Well, the problem is, I don't think one could do it as well as anyone else. Everyone is so perfectly cast that one might pretend to wish one was playing those characters, but in truth, it would probably be quite embarrassing because everyone was cast so specifically and brilliantly. I think the dark urge should say darling a bit more often, that's all.
I agree. There's plenty of people I'd love to, but you play the game, you see the characters, you see the performances, and it's unbeatably good, so it's a no from me.
It's a no from Dame George Taylor. And Andrew,
no to funsies.
No funsies. Anything from yourself either?
I've nothing really to add. I'm quite happy playing Raphael, but if you had to push me into a dark corner, it would probably have to be Astarion. In fact, I'd like to get Raphael and Astarion together. Let them go off on holiday together, I say. They go on holiday by mistake.
I think I'd like to play Orin and just be really fucked up for a bit.
I thought it was great. Does anyone else have one they'd like to play before we move on to our next question? No? In that case, thank you very much for your question. We shall now move over to the right-hand side. Hello, what is your name? What is your question?
Hello, my name is Tia. I'm from France.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. And thank you all for the work you did on Baldur's Gate. I'm really glad to be here, and I have enjoyed the game. So sorry for my English is not that good. I would like to ask what's a piece of advice you could give to people wanting to start voice acting or...
Okay, I'll do it quick because we've not got that much time. I would definitely say take your time to work out what you are talented at. Not everybody is going to be like a creature voice. I would only cast myself in certain voices. Work out what characters you could play. Get a really good reel. Don't half-ass it. Get it really good. Send it to agents, and just don't be like, oh, well, just quickly do a reel and just see what it's like. Like, do it properly. Do your research. Practice, and then do it, and then send it out to agents.
Practice technique. It is a very labor-intensive job in terms of the voice. If you've got to speak for 4 hours consistently without any form of cracks or breaks, that's something that it requires additional training. There are classes you can follow to do that, as well as if you need to project or do shouty parts, a whole other thing as well. There are courses where you can be trained in these things to be able to do it safely for yourself as a performer.
There's one of the other bits, I mean, that was good. One of the other bits that both Neil and Deborah said when it comes to this is, first and foremost, your acting. So you have to make sure that you know how to act. You can't just go, well, I bought a USB microphone, I can be in Baldur's Gate 4 now. So as long as you understand that and all the amazing advice here, we may see you in the next game.
Can I suggest something? What you need to do...
You're going to read this as the Dark Urge, is that what this is?
You need to...
Can you get off your Twitch account for 5 minutes, mate?
You need to write to Josh and Beth at Suite 4, Metropolitan House, 38 to 40 High Street, Croydon, CRO 1YB.
This is being filmed, by the way, live on the internet. Thanks for the doxing, I suppose.
Is it too late to recast?
I hope that helps you. Thank you so much for your question, though. We're now going to come over to the left-hand side. Hello.
To be frank, it's the last time I'm going to end up in Croydon. I'm not going to be employed again.
Hello, what is your name? What is your question?
Hi, my name is Ivana. I'm originally from Serbia, but I've lived in the UK for a while and sound like a Canadian. Also, funnily enough, used to have a cat named Gustav. So my question is, since I'm an actress and I've done a little bit of producing and writing, so I am familiar with what it feels like to put something out into the world and then have it open and vulnerable to opinions. So what kind of sat with me since the beginning of the panel is what you said, Beth, about you were expecting shame, and that really hit me. So my question is, why? Was it a thing of, oh, we could have done this better, we could have done that better, I wish we would have done it better? Or was it a matter of, I love this, we love this, but maybe we're just weird?
Wow. I mean, why? I think you probably have to ask my parents, first and foremost, why. No. Love my folks. It was just, there was so much for us to do. Sometimes it felt out of control. Like, okay, now I'm doing this character, now I'm doing this character, and we're jumping between Act 1, Act 3. And so you kind of feel like, oh, I think I lost a handle on that at certain points. But then when you actually watch it back, you're like, this is good. This is actually good. So I guess, as you'll relate to that, just doubt that you have as a creator, that you can, in the moment, you can think, yes, this is
But
working.
surely, is it? One's a small part of this whole cog. And when the press pack came in July, and they showed those cities and the world, I had no idea that was what it was going to look like. And I think that you're working in such a small space, you have to trust that everything else will go well. But there are so many things, so many games. Lord of the Rings Gollum, that I did a year or two ago. But you've done films that you think, oh, this is great, this is going to be wonderful. It then comes out and it genuinely isn't. And so, however great you think your small part within this whole is, it's really difficult to believe that everything will come together, because so often in the creative world that doesn't happen. And maybe that's part of what's special about this, is that every single element came together and was absolutely brilliant. But it rarely happens. So I think my default also is obviously blaming my parents. But even though I have no idea where I'm from. But I genuinely think that maybe that's some British thing about the default is you know, it's going to be a failure. But I do think when you don't see the whole, it's really hard to know, ultimately, whether this is actually going to be good or not. So I think that's part of the surprise, because it's, wow, we weren't actually expecting every single part to be brilliant. That's my view.
I mean, I can think of no better place to end this panel than with as good a words as that about how amazing the whole project was. I'm so sorry that we didn't get to all of you, because some of these questions really required really interesting, detailed answers from our wonderful panel. But thank you, all of you. Remember, there is another Baldur's Gate 3 panel this weekend, which I know, Neil, you're on Sunday. So if you guys want to see more of this, you can come back on Sunday for even more. But give it up for your amazing cast and crew of Baldur's Gate 3, everyone!